But it is the government in power, and they should do the right thing. What are the right things? We take only one example. The governor of Kebbi said that somebody ordered troops out and people were kidnapped. Till today, nobody in Nigeria knows what happened, and no question has been asked. And we are sitting down here as a parliament, and we turn and we talk. Yet, somebody is responsible.
Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So Senator Adams Oshiomhole has sparked nationwide outrage after sharply criticizing Senate President Godswill Akpabio for allowing Senator Enyinnaya Abaribe to speak openly on Nigeria's escalating kidnapping crisis. So in a video posted by Voice TV on YouTube, Oshomole accused Akpabio of reinforcing what he called uncomfortable truths raised by Abaribe, truths surrounding allegations that troops were withdrawn for a Kebbi community shortly before a mass kidnapping took place. Adams Oshiomhole argued that by giving Abaribe room to speak extensively, the Senate President strengthened an opposition narrative at a time he believes national unity should be top priority. The first video you watched was Abaribe speaking. Now I'm going to let you guys watch what Adams Oshiomhole said, and I'll be right back.
Because when you invited Senator Abaribe to speak, you went on to reinforce the sentiments expressed by Senator Abaribe. Abaribe is not of APC. And so any attempt by anyone to distract us from what is obviously a national issue is a disservice to our collective desire to stand firm together and find a solution to what is clearly a national problem that has been there for over 20 years. Mr. President, I am not ashamed to affirm that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is doing his best. Correct.
But Nigerians are firing back, and the backlash is intense. Many Nigerians say Oshomole comment exposes the deep political bias affecting national security decisions. The reactions are pouring in from all corners of the country. One person said, "Until this kind of ancestors is taken away from Nigeria's affair, we will never get it right. These are people who value party over the truth." Another person also said, "We are increasingly seeing the real enemies of Nigeria. How can Akpabio stop a senator from speaking on such a critical issue?" Another person said, "Nigeria is in trouble with people like Oshomole in power. How time and people change. I am ashamed of Oshomole outburst. Children are being kidnapped and you are playing politics." Another person also said, "This party called APC is the worst thing to happen to Nigeria. Oshomole is playing politics with people's children. That's how he manipulated the Labour Congress with lies. APC strive on deceit and propaganda." And here is the bigger question. Why should the contribution of a senator be suppressed simply because he does not belong to the ruling party, especially on a matter involving the lives of innocent Nigerians? For many observers, Oshomole's statement doesn't just sound political, it sounds dangerous, because if lawmakers cannot speak openly on security matters, how then can we solve Nigeria's worsening kidnapping problem? Nigerians are demanding accountability, transparency and unity, not political gatekeeping. The Senate is meant to be the voice of the people, and at a time when children are still missing, families are grieving and communities are terrified, many believe that the last thing Nigeria needs is political censorship.
My name is Enyinnaya Abaribe, and I represent Abia South. The writer, George Orwell, made a very profound statement, which I will quote. He says that in times of universal deceit, telling the truth becomes a revolutionary act. We are being told every day to be patriotic. We are being told here that we shouldn't say anything against. We are being told that, oh, you shouldn't talk about the past. You should focus on the present. Yet, on this floor,
Rather than focus on what we're supposed to talk about, we go back to say, oh, during 2015, oh, the Chibok girls happened, and oh, we are now rescuing people. People were not rescued at that time. During Chibok, 17 local governments in Katsina were not having parleys with bandits. People in Kebbi were not leaving all the rural areas and coming to only the urban areas to stay. People in Niger were not being kidnapped. So why do we need to? At any time we need to talk about the present issues of today. We go back to start to look for excuse for our failures of today. I only want to say, let us do the right thing. We're not blaming this government for what they are finding itself, but it is the government in power, and they should do the right thing. What are the right things? We take only one example. The governor of Kebbi said that somebody ordered troops out and people were kidnapped. Till today, nobody in Nigeria knows what happened, and no question has been asked. And we're sitting down here as a parliament, and we turn and we talk. Yet, somebody is responsible. If I'm the commander-in-chief, I will call the army commander in that place and the head of the army and say, if you don't get me the head of this person who withdrew the troops to put all these children in jeopardy, then you make an example of him. That is how a country is run. A country is not run on pacification. A country is run on confronting issues. I rest my case.
Because when you invited Senator Abaribe to speak, you went on to reinforce the sentiments expressed by Senator Abaribe. Abaribe is not of APC. And so any attempt by anyone to distract us from what is obviously a national issue is a disservice to our collective desire to stand firm together and find a solution to what is clearly a national problem that has been there for over 20 years. Mr. President, I am not ashamed to affirm that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is doing his best.
Correct.
He's doing his best. That we have not yet there doesn't mean that he has done anything knowingly, whether by negligence or lack of interest. Under your leadership, Mr. President, you have encouraged us to approve not once, not twice, special supplementary budget to support our armed forces, arising from the request of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Those requests were not meant for the armed forces to buy ice cream. It wasn't meant for them to do tobola in military nightclubs. They are meant to strengthen the armed forces, to re-equip them, to give them access to acquire modern technology, and to train, and even now, directive to recruit more men and women into the armed forces. Therefore, there can be no question that President Tinubu is doing his best. In moments like this, the devil can come in and make us so confused that we might turn against ourselves and then, by default, allow the enemy to behave as if he's happy an upper hand. However, what I think we should do, which under your leadership, even in your statement, you have already encouraged us to come up with such suggestion, is in the light of what we now know, what can we begin to do differently and contribute those ideas to support the executive initiative? One there, for example, is, and you amplified it, even in greater details than any one of us in this house, when you revisited the statement by the governor of Kebbi State. Nigerians are entitled to know, and it is no longer national secret. The commander of that area who ordered that those men be withdrawn, it is to be a national secret to be kept within military cycle. Nigeria should know the name, and the person should be brought to justice under the Terrorist Act. Number two, Mr. President.
Is it the view of the Senate that the issue you just canvassed now, that should form part of our prayers?
Yes.
Those in support say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. That is taken. Yeah. We will form part of our prayers.
Mr.
Yes,
President, under your leadership, we have passed laws that impose death penalty on terrorism. This parliament is on record as having done that. Mr. President, I am troubled when, after all the efforts that security agencies and the prosecuting authorities have to invest to secure conviction, because unfortunately the state cannot behave like a mob. So you have to prosecute, follow due process. I am troubled by the conflicting judgment by various high court judges, where the law says act of terrorism, if convicted, shall attract death penalty. No judge has a right to pronounce less than that. It is only when you have implemented the law, interpret the law, not the sentiment of a judge, the will of the people as conveyed in a law, then the president can decide if there are reasons for him to do so, whether to commute or to reduce. How can an offense that carries death penalty, a judge reduce it to 20 years in prison? That is not acceptable. But he has violated the laws passed by the parliament. Number three, sir, and this will be the last.
Has that happened in Nigeria already?
It has.
That
somebody convicted of terrorism was sentenced to 20 years in prison.
No.
Pardon?
No.
What was it? Can I be allowed to land?
The Senator